What happens to the Paris Climate Accord now? The US exited the Paris Accord with claims such as,
"Climate change is a hoax. China made it all up."
this leaves the US in the same boat as Nicaragua and Syria, as the only three countries to have not signed this historic agreement.
This agreement doesn't go far enough.
Oh, you are worried about what is going to happen in 30 years. We are worried about tomorrow.
The rest of the 195 nations have all signed the Paris Accord. Yes, even North Korea, who is threatening the world with nukes. Today's developed nations like the US and UK used coal for 100 years without realizing the damage it could cause, by which time temperatures had already risen alarmingly, threatening the world with unprecedented climate change. The only way to slow this down is to stop releasing pollutants like carbon dioxide and chlorofluorocarbons into the atmosphere, which is exactly why the 2015 Paris Accord was needed. The Accord is a voluntary agreement about who cuts how much of their emissions and targets on switching to renewable sources of energy. It aims to limit the global rise in temperature to 1.5 degrees centigrade this century, as opposed to the predicted 2 to 6 degrees increase. But it can only work if the whole world does it together. At first, India, South Africa and Brazil.
We need to catch up with the developed nations for which we need cheap coal power.
But they all agreed when
Developing countries will be given more time and aid to help them switch over without jeopardizing their growth.
Trump twisted this into,
India is getting billions and billions and billions of dollars as aid.
India received $3.1 billion in 2015, of which the US contributed just $100 million. And anyway,
we signed this not because of pressure or greed. Our commitment is 5,000 years old. We worship nature.
India has ambitious targets.
By 2030, we will get 40% of our energy from renewable sources.
The US had promised.
By 2025, we will reduce emissions by at least 26% from what they were in 2005.
So will the withdrawal of the US put the Earth in jeopardy? Other countries will have to fill in the gap left by the US. And let's hope that new technologies like the electric car become widespread sooner. But some US states like California and New York decided to break away from Trump and go their own way.
It's only a temporary setback. China, European countries, and individual US states will fill the gap.
If California was an independent nation, it would be the 6th largest country by GDP, ahead of India in 8th place. In the guise of reviving jobs for Americans, Trump plans to go back to the old days of coal mining.
China can build hundreds of coal plants, but we can't build any new ones.
China has in fact cancelled plans for 103 coal plants as a result of the Paris Accord. Meanwhile, Trump has also approved the ecologically controversial Keystone XL Dakota Access Pipeline that will go through the lands of ancestral Native Americans. There is a section of people who believe that climate change is a hoax, but we have only one Earth, so it's better to be safe than sorry. Bisbo Limerick. America withdrew from the Paris Accord, blaming developing countries for committing a fraud. Will the Earth now heat up, or is it a storm in a teacup? The coalition of the willing is still broad. If you like this video, share it with your friends and become Bisbo's friend by subscribing for free to Bisbo's YouTube channel. Come, let's discover the world together.